Good evening. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, all right. Welcome to Aurora's Committee of Adjustment meeting. I'll start by introducing the committee members and staff. I'm your committee chair. My name is Grace Marsh, and the remaining members are Hank Gosar, my vice chair, Tom Plamondon, Roy Harrington, and David Mango. Our secretary-treasurer tonight is Justin Leung. He's closing the door. The planner with us tonight is Marty Rokos, and our committee secretary is Linda Vados. For each application that will be considered tonight, the following process will occur. I'll briefly outline the purpose of the application. The applicant or the agent will be given an opportunity to make a presentation, however, it's not required. It's the applicant's decision whether they wish to speak or just let the application proceed on the merits of the information that we've received. Following any initial comments from the applicant, as chair, I'll invite members of the public who would have an interest in the application to come forward and address the committee. Those members of the public who wish to speak must clearly state your name and address, and you must also sign the corresponding request for notice form on the table in the front here for the public record. After completing the form, please provide it to our Secretary-Treasurer, Justin. Each individual may speak only once on an issue, and once discussion has commenced in respect of a motion, no further presentation shall be made. Please note that this public meeting is being audio and video recorded. Your name, address, comments, and any other personal information provided is being recorded according to the Municipal Act and the Municipal Freedom of Information and Protection of Privacy Act. This will help our town clerk prepare accurate minutes and will create a record that is available to the general public, including being posted on the town's website. Questions about this collection should be directed to the town clerk. Please ensure that any and all questions or comments are directed through me as the chair, and if relevant, I will request the appropriate person to respond. It should be noted that the applicant may be given an opportunity to respond to any questions or comments that the committee feels relevant. All of the reports being considered tonight are also available on the desk before you. Should you wish to receive an official notification of any of our decisions of this meeting, please complete the appropriate form, but the owners and the agents will be automatically notified. So we'll get going with tonight's meeting. Does any member of the committee have declarations of interest for me?
No.
Thank you. Seeing none, I'll look for a motion to approve our agenda.
Also move.
With amendments?
With amendments?
All right, so we have two applications we understand tonight are being deferred, so the amendments are, we're going to bring those forward, dispose of them, and then we'll hear the two that we're actually having a hearing on. So with those, with that motion, do I have a seconder?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor? That carries. Thank you. We have minutes of our previous meeting before us. Could I have a motion on those?
So moved, Madam Chair.
Yeah. Second? David, thank you. All in favor? And that carries as well. Thank you. So the first application we're going to deal with tonight is MV 2018-04AC, Meehan Scholes, 80 Victoria Street. We understand that there's a request to defer that tonight. Did you want to make any comments or just have us do that? Okay, interesting. Would you, all right, well, you know what, why don't I read the application? If you'd like to make comments, you'll be entitled to. The applicant is requesting relief from the requirements of the Town of Aurora Zoning Bylaw 6017 as amended. The applicant is proposing to construct a detached garage with associated driveway. The applicant has applied for the following variances. MV 2018-04A to permit an increased driveway width of 7 meters, whereas the zoning bylaw requires a maximum driveway of 6, requiring a variance of 1 meter. Application 2018-04B is to permit a reduced minimum southerly interior side yard setback for the proposed detached garage to 0.1 meter, whereas the bylaw requires a setback of 1.2 meters, thereby requiring a variance of 1.1 meters. application MV 2018-04C, to permit the proposed detached garage to have an eaves projection of 1.2 meters into the required southerly interior side yard, whereas the zoning bylaw allows a maximum eaves projection of 0.7 meters, requiring a variance of 0.5. The town's design criteria manual for engineering plans requires a 0.6 meter of undisturbed strip to be maintained within the subject property abutting all other existing lands in order to meet grading and drainage design requirements. The current plan does not meet this requirement. As such, staff are recommending that 2018-04 AC be deferred until these matters have been resolved. So that's what's before us tonight. Did the applicant want to make any comments to us? You need to come to the microphone and identify yourself, please.
Hi. I was willing to do a drain in front of the garage because I guess groundwater is the issue from the driveway, so it doesn't go onto the neighbor's property. So I was thinking of putting a drain in front of the doors so the water coming backwards would go into that, and then I could dump it into the backyard. I'd also, it used to be an existing garage further back in my survey, as you can see, and to get an 8-foot door for the garage, I have to get it as close as I can to the property line. Obviously, if, I have room to negotiate, but obviously the closer I can to the property line, the better.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm going to give staff an opportunity to comment to us then, since it appears to be their recommendation that it be deferred.
Madam Chair, yeah, basically the memo and the report describe the situation. There was a comment from the infrastructure division that they do have a minimum 0.6 meters for drainage purposes between the driveway and the property line. And for the new extension of the driveway, they would be looking for that. It's my understanding that there might be some flexibility with the numbers, but that would be up to the applicant to discuss with engineering staff to propose a solution that would work for engineering staff.
Okay, thank you. So it would actually be fair to say at this point that planning staff are not in a position to make a recommendation to us that they either would approve it or have no issues with it, or that they would not approve it. They're asking for more time to resolve it before we would get a formal recommendation.
Madam Chair, that's correct. We are looking for, because it's a concern that was identified by another department, so we don't have a recommendation one way or the other for planning at this point.
So having heard that, I'm going to open up to the committee either for comments, questions, or a motion in the matter.
Madam Chair, I've just been informed that the system is resetting at the moment. It's back.
Through you, Madam Chair, I'd like to put forward a motion to defer these applications until a future date.
Do I have a second? I'll second that. Okay, all in favor? That motion carries. So, my microphone's working. We've voted now. Your application is deferred. Please work directly with staff and speak with them. It'll be perfectly fine. They'll come forward to us again at a future date, and you can discuss that with them. And then at that time, we will have an appropriate recommendation. Sure.
I'm just curious, deferred to when? I understand they're putting a stop to variances in my neighborhood, and I just don't want to be pushed into a long delay.
Okay, so again, I'm going to have to direct you to speak with staff on that. I know that I understand the context of what you're talking about. Staff will let you know if that's the case, and they will also work with you. There's a meeting every month, so if you get in touch with them quickly and give them the opportunity to talk to you to resolve their issues, I would suspect it will come back probably next month. But, and if there is any issue with that interim bylaw, I don't think you would have been here tonight.
It was kind of very close, actually.
Okay,
That's why I'm just kind of bringing it up.
close is good. If because it came forward, it tells me that the interim bylaw is not a concern. Marty, did you want to comment on that?
Yeah, the application has been submitted, and it's been accepted, so it can move forward, and the interim control bylaw doesn't affect it.
Okay.
Perfect, thank you.
Thank you.
So just meet with staff and we'll be good.
Okay.
Okay, we also have before us application MV 2018-06AD, which I also understand that staff is recommending a deferral. Did anybody wish to address us on that one? Okay, seeing none, then I will look for a motion.
Through the chair, I'll move that application MV 2018-06A through D be deferred to a future meeting.
Second? Thank you, Hank. All in favor? That carries. Thank you. All right, 62 Tyler. So the next application we have before us tonight is 62 Tyler Street, MV 2018-03A and B. The purpose of application MV 2018-03A, the applicant is seeking relief from the provisions of zoning bylaw 6017 as amended, respecting to allow a reduction in the minimum interior side yard setback. The property is in a detached third-density residential R3 zone. Section 7.2 of the zoning bylaw requires a minimum interior side yard setback of 1.5 meters. The applicant is proposing to construct a two-story addition, which is 1.2 meters to the easterly side of the property line, thus requiring a variance of 0.3 meters. MV 2018-03B, the applicant is seeking relief from the same bylaw as amended to allow an increase in eaves projection. Section 4.20 of the zoning bylaw states that eaves may project 0.7 meters onto any required yard. The applicant is proposing to construct a two-story addition with eaves projecting 0.77 meters into easterly interior side yard, thus requiring a variance of 0.07 meters. Planning Division had no objections, Building Division no comments, Engineering Division no objections subject to conditions, Operational Services no objections subject to conditions, no comments received from Central York Fire, no objections from Electra Utilities, no objections from the Region of York, and no objection with a little supplementary information from the Heritage Planning and Development Services. Applicant or agent for this one? Do you want to come forward and address us? Just push the button. Oh, it's already on, so.
Wonderful. Madam Chair, members of the committee, I'm John Cabral from Snap and Hammer. We are the authorized agent for the Chudik family at 62 Tyler Street. We're seeking a variance of 0.3 meters on the easterly side yard setback, We plan to construct a single-car garage with the two-story addition above. The entire front is paved to the property line, so we're going to be within the engineering division's requirements. And we have no problem meeting any of the recommendations from staff.
And you've seen the conditions that have been imposed within the staff report as well, and you're accepting of those and understanding of those?
Yes, we have the arborist report, the drainage, yes.
Good, thank you. That's good, you can sit. Are there any members of the public that wish to speak to this application? Okay, seeing none, then I'll look to the committee for any comments or questions. Okay.
May I, through the chair, can I get the applicant to come back down? Just a couple of questions. When I was looking through this particular application, there's a question in the application that asks why is it not possible to comply. Looking at the setback reduction, 1.5 to 1.2 doesn't seem all that significant, 0.3 of a meter. However, you talk about the existing setback results in an overly narrow access and garage. The mudroom hallway width will not be code compliant, and the garage too narrow to exit a vehicle. Unfortunately, if you've got your ground floor plan, I'm wondering if we can have a look at that, because the dimensions on the drawings that I've got are impossible to read. And I'm wondering why the mudroom... Yeah, go right ahead. Thank you. So if I'm looking at that, I'm looking at overall width is 4.72 meters, is that correct?
Yes.
And your mudroom would not be code compliant. Is the mudroom that I'm looking at there code compliant? And what would be the non-compliance? Is it building code?
Yep. So with the existing setbacks that we have about 10 feet from the exterior garage wall to the mudroom wall. If we subtract 2 feet for our countertops, we're going to have under 760 millimeters for walking hallway space. This is the reason for our minor variance application. We just want to make sure we have enough hallway width to access the mudroom.
So my question to you then would be, if you've got that mudroom there, if that countertop and overhead, it looks like there might be overhead cupboards there. Mm-hmm. If that wasn't there, you wouldn't have an issue with the width.
With the parking garage width, correct. We would have an issue with accessing the house.
With accessing the house?
The basis of design from the client was they would like a mudroom in the front, which would be attached to the single-car garage that we're designing.
And then you go on to say that you wouldn't be able to get in and out of the vehicle, but if I drove a car, is that an 8-foot door on the front?
8 to 9 feet, yeah.
8 to 9 feet, so more than, okay. So if I drive the car in, I'm looking at 4.72 meters interior width. That's more than enough to get in and out of a car, is it not?
I mean, I suppose, depends what vehicle you're driving, but I'm in agreement.
Okay. So when I look at the criteria here in your rationale for asking for the variance, there are some very minor things that could have been done that would have made the mudroom compliant in terms of the building code, and you would have been able to get in and out of a vehicle without too much difficulty. What's the overall length of that garage, if I can ask? Is it a single car? It's got to be more than that.
No, it's a single car with storage space, and it's about 34 feet and 34 and a half feet.
Wow. Okay. If I look at the second floor plan, if you can pull that up. You've got, so, okay, so that's if I look at the drawings that I've got, I can't even read any of this, and I'm looking at it, I thought that was a walk-in closet. So it's a master bedroom and an ensuite.
Yes.
Okay. And this is a two-story. So obviously, this is really more of a design issue than anything else from what I can see, not necessarily a hardship. Would that be correct?
Not entirely. It is possible to manage a design, but it's not within the client's scope of work or basis of design. They were looking for a very specific vision. Their family is expanding, and they would like to have the garage with the mudroom set out front. That being said, this design keeps in touch with the town of Aurora's listed heritage designation. So by having this layout, we maintain a large portion of the existing structure, the existing heritage listed structure, with minimal impact to the building envelope. We went down the path of relocating the second story, if we could put it at the back, if we can flex the garage a little bit, but the client has also spent a substantial amount on hardscaping and landscaping in the back. If we were to alter it and push it towards the back, we would be creating a bit of a privacy issue with the neighbors. So we want to taper away from that. Our goal is to set this properly, keeping the character of the neighborhood. We've set the roof line lower than the existing building. There is no criteria for heritage design in this area of Aurora. So we followed the northeast, or the old Northeast Aurora heritage plan, and we comply and we designed in accordance with that outline.
Yeah, because when I looked at it, the question that just kept coming through my mind was why you couldn't push it back a little bit, rejig the mudroom a little bit, and meet the requirements of the zoning bylaw, because those numbers really are there for a reason. They're not arbitrary. Tyler, obviously your client knows that area and knows that that they're narrower but much deeper lots. And, as such, there's a little bit of flexibility there, a little bit more flexibility there because of the depth of the lot. I didn't go around the back to see whether or not I thought there might be some landscaping, some existing trees, or, an accessory structure, that kind of thing that would have prohibited the building or the addition from shifting back. So I'm not aware of that, but okay. Well, you've answered the question, so thank you very much.
Thank you.
A couple of your comments, Tom. Starting with, I'm looking at the memo that we received from Heritage. Now, you raised the issue of Heritage that you're in keeping with, and yet we have information which I would consider contrary to that, where it says the Heritage staff noted the issue of massing with respect to the addition and recommended a further side yard setback, and the owner's architect has not changed the proposal to address staff's concerns. Can you answer that question, please?
Agreed, and it was for the specific reasons previously outlined. If we rejig the design to have the addition further to the back in accordance with what Mr. Healy in the Heritage Department was suggesting, it would compromise the existing envelope of the heritage structure 62 Tyler Street. Yes.
It's almost as if you're saying you're disagreeing with what Mr. Healy is saying. He's saying one thing, which is you're not in compliance, and you're suggesting that you are in compliance.
We are suggesting that we've explored various options to try and mitigate Mr. Healy's suggestions. This is sort of a last resort for the design bases. We're keeping in touch with the same heritage materials, the same heritage characteristic style of the building, and we determined this would be of least impact to the structure. We understand the structure is listed and not designated. We would like to have a basis to go off of, outlined in hard copies, similar to the Northeast Old Aurora, but there wasn't that we could find. So we accompanied to that side.
Follow-up question about the garage. The garage actually is kind of a linear garage as opposed to having a two-car garage, which we typically associate with two doors side by side. You're having one door, but it's going actually the length for two cars.
The length is for one car plus storage.
But it would adequately probably accommodate one or two.
It would accommodate one, it would not accommodate two.
Okay. Thank you.
Through the chair, just following up on the other member who just finished speaking, it's about the heritage. Actually, this question may be not to you, but to the staff. I'm just surprised, maybe even the other member surprised, why the heritage planning, they made this, they're saying no objection, just a comment, and they say their concerns. And the memo, they're saying, the applicant didn't address this. So I'm just getting surprised why they didn't object to this. Why it's not regarding, like it's not objected, they actually accepted, and it's just a comment. I don't know, I really don't understand.
Marty, I'll ask you to address that.
Through the chair, I had a conversation with the heritage planner about his comments, and basically he was just raising a concern. He wasn't suggesting that the variance be refused or anything like that. He wasn't recommending any conditions, such as bringing it to the Heritage Committee. He was just basically voicing this one comment that he had, but in the end, he wasn't objecting to the minor variance application.
So can you say generally it's acceptable? The massing the way it is acceptable. That's why they didn't object to it. Can you say that?
Through the chair, I don't think I can say that. I don't want to speak for Mr. Healy. I think his memo will have to speak for itself, but
Yeah.
he did let me know that he wasn't objecting to the variance itself.
Okay. A question to the applicant. First condition, bullet point number 2, is about roof drain downspouts design. How do you plan to address that comment?
By mitigating the roof drainage to the rear of the property.
Yes.
The existing driveway is paved already to the property line. So that's a factor in the water drainage. When it comes time to a set of permit drawings, we'll be more than happy to work with town to meet any of the requirements, any suggestions that they may have with roof drainage.
Okay, so at the moment you don't have any idea, you just plan to work with the town staff? to
At the
address
moment,
this?
yes, we'll be working with the existing grading. We won't be modifying the grading negatively in any way. We won't be directing the slope of water over to the neighboring properties. And we will be more than happy to work with town staff on that issue.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Sorry, I did ask if there was any public wanted to address this, right? Yeah, okay. So I'll look for a motion. Thank you.
This is not a motion, this is a question in regards to the recommendation. Number 1, should that in fact refer to the Director of Planning Development Services rather than Parks, Rec, and Cultural Services? First recommendation, number 1.
Through the chair, you're correct. Yeah, thank you.
Sorry, could you just give me the amendment again? Thank you.
Under the recommendations, number 1,
Yep.
It currently says submission to the Secretary Treasurer, written confirmation from the Director of Parks, Recreation, and Cultural Services. That should be replaced with the Director of Planning and Development Services.
Okay. On the condition? Okay, so when we get a motion, the condition will be amended for that change. Okay, anything else now? A motion?
Okay. Through the chair, I move that the two applications be approved with the two conditions as indicated in the staff's report.
As amended.
As amended, yes.
As amended. Okay. Do I have a seconder for that? I have no seconder for that motion, so I will look for an alternate motion.
Through the chair, I am going to move that application MV 2018-03A and 03B be denied.
And do I have a seconder for that motion?
I'll second that motion.
Okay, seconded by Roy. I'll call the vote. All in favor? 1, 2, 3. Opposed? 1. That motion of denial carries. Thank you. Okay, and our final application tonight is minor variance applications MV 2018-05A and MV 2018-05B. I just have a quick question of staff before I read it. It looks like they're very similar for both. It's just one lot and another lot, but we do refer to a different section, 11.12722 and 11.12622. That possibly could be correct, but could I get that verified? So 05A is referring to section 11.127.22 of the zoning bylaw, and the one below is 11.126.22.
Through the chair, I believe if you note, actually, both lots are actually under two different zones.
Okay.
So thereby, I believe that's why there's a different section that's being referenced.
Okay,
Yeah.
excellent, thank you. I just wanted to confirm that before we read it. Thank you very much. So the applicant is seeking relief from the provisions of zoning bylaw 2213, so the old bylaw?
Through the chair, yes, there was a building did state that it is going, in this instance, it would be under the previous bylaw.
All right, thank you. As amended, respecting to allow reduction in minimum rear yard setback. The property is in a detached dwelling, second density residential exception zone, R2-125 zone. Section 11.127.2.2 of the zoning bylaw requires a minimum rear yard setback of 6 meters. The applicant is proposing to construct a detached dwelling unit which is 4.08 meters to the rear line, thus requiring a variance of 1.92 meters, and that is for lot number 1. Application 05B is seeking relief from the same zoning bylaw, also to allow a reduction in the minimum rear yard setback. Section 11.126.2.2 of the zoning bylaw requires a minimum rear yard setback of 0.75 meters. The applicant is proposing to construct a detached dwelling unit which is 7.28 meters to the rear property line, thus requiring a variance of 0.22 meters, and that is for lot number 10. We have no objections from the Planning Division, the Engineering Division, and Electric Utilities. No comments from the Building Division. No objections from Operational Services. No comments received from Central York Fire. No objections from the Region of York. And no comments received from Heritage Planning and Development. And no comments from Metrolinx. We have an applicant or agent for this one?
Good evening, Madam Chair and committee members. I'm Mohammed Ahmadi from RN Design representing Brookfield Residential. And as you've stated, as Madam Chair has stated, we're requesting a relief of the rear yard setback due to the odd shape of these lots in order to allow for the dwellings to fit.
Okay, that's it.
Thank you.
Any members of the public like to address this application? Okay, seeing none, thank you. I'll look for comments or questions from the committee. Nothing on this side? Tom, go ahead.
Just very quickly. For both of these, I'm assuming that we are tight to the other setbacks, front and rear, to staff on this one. Are we tight on these on these other setbacks? Is that why? Was there no way, like I'm looking at lot 10 in particular. So we go from 7.5 down to 7.28, but I'm wondering if there was, the front setback. Are we tight to that front setback? Or maybe the applicant, are you tight to that front setback? I can't read the number.
I believe so. I believe so we were.
On lot 10?
Yes.
And again, maybe to the applicant, are both of these sold, or are these units that are being built on spec?
No, these will be built on spec.
These are on spec?
Yes.
So are these just models that you've got that...
In regards to the sale of the two, I'm not really aware of which one, but I believe lot 10 may have been sold, but lot 1 is spec'd, I believe.
So, okay. And that particular design on lot 1, is that just a standard design? I can see it being
Yeah.
a standard design. You put it on the lot,
Yeah.
and without having to get into, another set of drawings that modify the layout. Is that the situation?
Yes.
Because normally I would expect that when you come to the committee for,
Yeah.
variances, you've got something that's sold that you've shown the client or the purchaser, and there was no other way to do it. Whereas if it's just a standard model, you want to come in. I mean, you've got an existing subdivision. Granted, the lots are all a little bit different.
Yeah.
So I can understand that. The thing that, again, that comes before the committee from time to time, these kind of situations where, so then the customer comes along and says, well, I want to add another foot to the house. And then you end up coming back to the committee, to ask again for something that you've already got a variance for. And it makes it sort of, difficult for us and for the town when you've got, something that's just being built spec that could very easily come back to us for something else.
I'm really not aware of the status of if these houses have been sold or not, so I cannot really comment on that matter.
I have probably more problem with lot 1 when you're going from 6 down to 4.08. That's a significant reduction. And I'm looking at, yes, it's in irregular shape. I'm wondering, if there wasn't a way, it looks like 9.3. I'm looking at that rear setback. I'm just wondering, even the drawing that I'm looking at kind of doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. There's a rear yard setback of 6 meters, and the corner of the house goes right into it. Kind of wondering why. Staff, Marty, have you got lot 1 up? Have you got lot 1 there?
Through the chair, I do, yes.
So if I'm looking at that, I'm looking at rear yard setback dotted line. and I'm looking at the corner of the building going right into it. Is there something I'm missing on that?
Through the chair, the way that the lot is shaped, you can actually see on the drawing, there's rear yard setback is there on 2 lines, and both of those lines at the both of those property lines that kind of go on almost a 90-degree angle are both considered the rear yard lot line. And because of that, the 6 meters is measured from both of those lines. And that's why the northwest corner of the house is within the rear yard setback.
Ending that. Oh, that's the variance. Why am I looking at the front? See, again, it's hard to read the numbers on these drawings. I apologize. Okay, so there's where that reduction is there. Okay, I'm sorry. It's that triangle.
It's that triangle.
It is the triangle.
Yes.
Okay,
Because this is the rear yard setback.
Gotcha.
It's the weird shape at the back.
yeah. Okay, sorry.
Normally, our rear yard setbacks are straight.
Straight, yeah.
Through the chair, if it helps for the front yards, I can read them on what I have here. For lot 10, the front yard setback is 6.17, and on lot 1, the front yard setback is 6.05.
Okay.
If you remain this here
Okay.
and indicate where these lots are, would have been better for the member. Because I could
okay.
see the numbers here. I think the other one is 10, and the other one, you can actually see
Yeah,
properly
okay.
here.
Yeah.
But because this one is not really very clear, so yeah. I could tell myself from just looking at the shape.
That's fine.
Please, through the chair, I move that the 2 applications be approved as presented. There are no comments. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, that's the end of our applications for tonight. Any new business or general information? Hank?
You, Madam Chair, just like to ask for comments on application MV 21801 at 95 Eric T. Smith Way. We received a short message from Justin, and I wondered if you might just kind of give us a little bit more information if you have it, Justin.
Through the chair, what happened was there was the letter of concern from the property owner adjacent to the south of this subject property. My understanding is they have met with them, and I believe they have been able to resolve the issues between both sides. They did contact me recently. They are going to be making some changes to their proposal. And also they are going to revise the parking study as per the comments from the committee last time. And they said that they will soon be submitting those new materials, and they do want to, and if things are okay, bring the application back to the possibly the April meeting. But I haven't received the materials yet, but I expect soon.
Through the chair, and before we do adjourn, or before anyone else brings up anything under new business or general information, so I've had the pleasure of occupying a seat on this committee for the last few years. I understand that we're going to be losing Justin Leung to pursue his career with another municipality. Justin has been a terrific staff resource, I think, to all of us over the last few years, and certainly before my time, I'm sure. And I would like to, on behalf of myself, and I'm sure I speak for other members of the committee and the chair, would like to thank you, Justin, for your dedication and hard work over the last, I guess it's 5 years you've been here, and again, want to wish you all the very best in your new position, albeit with a neighboring municipality or not far away, and want to thank you for all of the hard work that you've put into your job and the manner in which you have conducted your career here to this point in time, and I'm sure will beyond. So thank you very much, Justin. Good luck.
Yeah. Through the chair, thank you. I was going to make a mention. Yeah, I was really going to say genuinely, it's been great to be able to get to know all of you. Extend that to the staff as well, and I believe moving forward, you'll be in good, capable hands with the staff here as well. And yeah, best wishes moving forward, and maybe, hopefully, maybe our paths will cross in the near future again. Thank you.
Thanks very much for that, Tom. And you do speak for all of us, I'm sure. Thank you. Comments, questions under new business general information?
I was going to do the same thing. So I don't have to say anything more. We just thank Justin. This is my second term as a member of Committee of Adjustment, and when Justin joined, we were actually happy. We worked together very well. So wish you the best. Just know Markham is more applications than here. Meeting twice in a month.
Last day here present, in body.
Tomorrow. Tomorrow, yeah, that's it. Yeah. But I won't be far, yeah. Through the chair, I talked to some staff today. I think we're still, they think there's some discussion about it. It hasn't been finalized yet. But I believe it would have to be my eventual replacement would look into that. But I didn't get I think we were saying it makes sense, but I think there was just something, they wanted to talk more to my director about that as well.
And just for the record, I will be absent next month. I'll be away at some business meetings. So if we could just make note of that, but the vice chair has confirmed that he will be in attendance and there will be quorum for next month's meeting. So I appreciate that. Thank you very much. And motion to adjourn. Thank you, Hank. We are adjourned.